take care and manage the feral cat population?
Well, that's what we're here for, is to assist them, make sure we can get them the food, teach them how to manage the feral cats, make sure they get to the vets, because a feral cat will not live as long as these two domestic cats. Average age, life of a feral cat, maybe 6 to 8 years. Average age of a domestic cat, 16 years. Because it's brutal outside. But then we teach them how to care for them, make sure they're spaded and neutered so that they don't become a problem. And it's really not as difficult as people would think. Look, cats are pretty self-sufficient. Make sure they have food, water, make sure they have housing, especially in inclement weather. And at night, especially when everybody else is going to sleep, the cats who are nocturnal are up. They're patrolling up and down. They're checking every nook, cranny, and corner. The rats can smell them. The mice can smell them. And I guarantee that they will stay away, at least in this section of Lafayette. And then the mayor, he can dance the horror and the tarantella and finally declare victory on one block in the city against rats, because right now he's had no luck. He's tried everything. So if you're interested, be more than happy to speak with you.
I'm not 55 plus.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
I'm very
doesn't matter. That's the average age.
Oh,
but there are all kinds. In fact, if you look at the documentary that was made about Brooklyn, people who manage feral cats, they're old, they're young, they're middle-aged, they're hipsters, they're millennials, they're black, white, Hispanic, Asian. They're all backgrounds. But the predominant, if you had to say, what is the predominant person who generally will manage a cat colony? It's usually a woman who's 55 plus.
Are there many?
And the cats really take to them.
Are there many feral cats in the city now?
Excuse me?
Are there many feral cats in the city now?
Oh, yeah. In fact,
where?
I and Nancy, all 5 boroughs.
Does animal control go after them, or?
Yes. At times, animal control will pick them up because of a complaint, and then all of a sudden, they're put into the shelter. And if they're not adopted or forced it out within a period of time, they're destroyed, they're euthanized. Because a feral cat is the hardest to adopt. Like if you went to a shelter and you saw a feral cat, the feral cat will never come in your home. So I don't want that cat. But you're not interested in having that cat outside of your house.
Yeah,
so
100% of the time they euthanize feral cats because they're not considered adoptable. Like you can't bring them in your house. So almost across the board, they euthanize when they're outside, they euthanize them.
But you would be surprised, all the places, tenements, projects. We just worked with a group of cat rescuers in the Queensbridge Project, which is the largest public housing project in the United States, right in the shadow of the 59th Street Bridge. And in fact, we were helping them get into the basement. The NYC maintenance people had actually sealed up the entrances where the feral cats would go in and eradicate the mice and the rats in the basement of the NYC public housing project. So we had to come in and help the cat rescuers.
Why didn't Eric Adams' former attempts to fix the problem work?
Eric Adams has tried everything. He's admitted it. From the time he was Brooklyn Borough president, to the time he's mayor, to the fact that he's a landlord now who's now been ticketed twice. And he's indicated the litany of things he's done, both as a absentee landlord and as the borough president and mayor. He's drowned the rats himself in a public demonstration at Borough Hall that did not go over well. He's put dry ice in the boroughs by the Albany housing projects. It did not work. He's flooded rats in their boroughs. That did not work. Pesticides, they develop an immunity the same way we do to pharmaceutical drugs that we get prescriptions for. That's why they become super rats and super mice. He's tried everything, and he's admitted it, and he's knocked himself out. The problem is he's indicated he's afraid of the mice and rats, well, really, the rats. Every time he sees a rat, and let's face it, he's the mayor of nightlife. When he gets into that SUV at night coming out of Club Zero Bond downtown, the rats are out in the streets. I'm sure it grosses him out. And he said, I think about that all the rest of the day. What can I do to get rid of these rats? This is the one remedy that he was offered when he was Brooklyn Borough president. He was part of the documentary at the end. He said he would look into it. Nancy went to his meetings because she managed feral cat colonies in Sunset Park and still does. They were very nice. but they did manganui, nothing. It's time. He can't do it, we'll do it.
What do you think of the mayor's garbage plan to cut the rats?
The mayor's garbage plan that obviously is being put into effect by Sanitation Commissioner Tish, passed the Grey Poupon mustard. Tish, come on. You think she's ever bent over and picked up a piece of garbage in her life? Are you kidding? She had Jeeves, the limo driver, do it. She has no respect of the men and women in the sanitation department. Changing the hours does nothing. Absolutely nothing. The rat operates predominantly at 10 p.m. at night to 4 a.m. in the morning. They chew through the plastic bags. Plastic bag being put out on the curb, they're going to chew right into it. And they're going to get at that garbage unless it's fully sealed, hermetically sealed in a container. And that's, I don't care how many hours you change. All you're doing is you're moving around the chairs on the Titanic. And the last person in the world who should be in charge of this at the sanitation department is Madame Tish. Let them eat cake. God, get our previous sanitation commissioner, Kathy Garcia, excellent. The men and women said, even though she never lifted a pail of garbage, she never functioned, and she knew it. But Tish, all she thinks of is she's obsessed with one thing, and that is, word is that she constantly puts a little, composting. The little brown thing, she's obsessed with composting. That's not the number one issue for the sanitation department in the city of New York. There's too much garbage in the streets. The containers are not emptied enough. And even if they did a better job of that, you're still going to have the rats because they multiplied exponentially during the lockdown and pandemic for the last 2 years as the feral cat population exploded because there was no spading and neutering going on by the ASPCA or the shelters, animal control. Excuse me. Trust me, the rat problem is a problem. It's not egress and access. I mean, we got a crime problem in New York City. All right, we're the guardian angels here. We got it. We got it. If anything breaks out, we got it. We need to fight crime in the city, okay? Gee, got an army here. Anything else?
Curtis, I missed the top.
Excuse me?
I missed the top of the press. Can I talk to you?
Sure, no problem. What we got here, you need what we got here is we're bringing feral cats that are going to be housed outside of Eric Adams' building that he's the owner of. Absentee landlord, he's been clipped now twice, tickets for rats, and obviously the inspectors have cited him for having rats on the outside. They haven't gained access to the inside, but I can tell you, my experience, if there are rats on the outside, they're going to be rats on the inside. So because he's knocked himself out, he has no way of solving the problem. He's looking for a rat czar. He hasn't found them. We come offering our help 2 ways, in a bipartisan way. The best measure that's ever worked, globally, locally, regionally, historically, are feral cats. Put feral cats outside, you get somebody to manage the colony, and the rats and the mice will stay away. That's number one. We're going to do that, and apparently this morning the mayor said he welcomes that. Number 2, I've offered to be the PM rat czar from 10 at night to 4 in the morning because that's when the rats are out. The rats rule the night in all 5 boroughs of New York City. I'll do that at no cost. Meantime, he can pursue getting a rat czar for the AM, doing all the bureaucratic work, all the pounds of paperwork, because that's not going to resolve the problem. So we come in a spirit of bipartisan cooperation because he said he's afraid of the rats. He's intimidated by rats. I've grown up with rats. I got it. Anything else?
My son was just in Istanbul last
Yes.
week. He was sending me pictures of the cat.
Yeah.
Interesting coincidence. They are there for the rats.
Yeah, well, they're not only that, they're part of the families now, yeah. But the reason that the community accepted them is that they noticed when they had the cats out, no rats.
And they've been there hundreds of years.
Centuries.
Yeah.
You go there, people are amazed. How come the Turkish, who are considered in many places a third world country, how come they have a better hold on the rat problem than we have in the United States?
You said the rats or the cats seem very clean and friendly and.
Oh, cats
They're not,
are the cleanest. They're not like a dog, where you have to wash your dog. Cats, as you know, are constantly cleaning themselves. They're the cleanest of animals. Yes,
Somewhere you got the rats, so...
let's assume these two were feral, because they're not domestic. They would live in a box like this, which is outdoors, be in the yard. They would mostly stay in the box when it's inclement weather. Rain, sleet, snow, sub-zero. For most of the time, they'd be out and about. Then at night, the rats come out at night, they rule the night, and the feral cats will go in the area, the immediate area, wherever they have food, wherever they have shelter, wherever they have...
their house,
yes.
and they'll go to work.
Oh, they go to work. In fact, I call them Batman and Robin. They'll patrol the block. The whole block will benefit. Everybody will love Eric Adams because he finally will have come up with a solution to the rat problem on his own block. You can't resolve the problem in the city if you can't even deal with a rat problem in front of your own house.
Say that again, Curtis.
You can't resolve the rat problem in the city if you can't even deal with the rat problem in front of your own house. So nobody's going to have any faith in his ability to do that unless he deals with this. And this time, let's hope he hires a private attorney instead of corporation counsel. Go in, pay the fine. It's $1,200. He pays $5,000 for his customized suits, and be done with it. And then we'll take care of the rat problem here.
Did the rats in his house affect the neighborhood around here?
Yeah, I'm sure all these houses, it's not because of Eric Adams' house. I'm sure all of these houses have problems of mice and rats. I see an open lot there. They probably have burrows in that open lot. So that's one of the things we would have to check because it's got a padlock on the fence, one of the first things I saw. And I would bet you there are burrows in there for rats and mice. And you put the cat in there, boom. They're gone. They're gone. They'll abandon their burrows. They'll leave that area.
Is it a similar situation at Gracie Mansion?
Excuse me?
Is it a similar situation by Gracie Mansion?
No, Carl Schurz Park has rats. Carl Schurz Park has rats, but I'm sure Gracie Mansion. I don't think the mayor's there that much, but I don't think they have a rat problem.
Have you personally dealt with rats in your life?
Yep. I've been in the sewers in New York City, where you see rats. I've been in what they call lots, fields, because I grew up in Canarsie before it all got subdivided, where there were rats. And I've dealt with two-legged rats and dropping dime on them to the FBI and the NYPD. So I've dealt with all kinds of rats. But I'm not afraid of rats. I've been in the subways. I've been in the tunnels. The rats galore. They're more afraid of you. They're more afraid of you. But we are scared of them. You don't need to be scared of a rat. They're not going to bite you. They're not going to jump you. Only if you corner them and you threaten them, sure.
Have you stepped on one lately?
I've had rats crawl up my leg. Not a problem. Not a problem. This is what they do. Then all of a sudden they realize you're a human, right? Oh, my God. They run the other direction. They're so afraid of people. People don't realize that. We see from time to time the videos like the pizza rat, where he was taking that slice up. They dance the horror and the tarantella and the crip dance at the end of the subway platforms at night. They rule the subways and they rule the streets and they rule the neighborhoods at night. And now it's time. You can fight back, but you can't win this war. Nobody ever has. Nobody ever will. I remember when Rudy Giuliani was the mayor, he won the war on crime, but he had his deputy mayor, Joe Loder, as his rat czar. Let's just say, notice they don't talk about their record battling rats. They talk about their record battling crime. That's enough said right there. They never won that war. You're never going to win it.
Have you lived in any buildings that had rats?
Excuse me?
Have you lived in any buildings?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I lived in Brownsville on Osborne and Hegeman when I was first married back in 1972. They had rats in that whole neighborhood. You know, even if you kept the house clean, the rats were like everywhere. I lived in the Bronx, up on West Warner Road and University Avenue. There were rats there. I mean, people in certain neighborhoods, they understand they're going to be rats. You go to Washington Heights, all along Broadway, outside of the retail stores, they have tables like this where they sell little tchotchkes. The number one thing they sell outside the stores, rat poison, because it's infested there. And rat poison is no good. The kids end up playing and eating it. The other animals, I've seen animals when they've ingested the poison. It's a horrible death, whether they're birds, whether they're cats, whether they're dogs. Their stomachs implode. It is an absolute horrible death.
What about these plastic containers? They contain a liquid, correct?
Yeah, liquid.
What are your thoughts on those? Those are everywhere.
I'm not into drowning rats. To me, that's clockwork orange.
You at all concerned that the feral cats will eat poison rats and die?
They don't eat the rats. They don't eat the rats. Mice, yes, they don't eat rats. Now, I stand to be corrected. I've never seen a feral cat eat a rat. I've seen them kill the rat, and then they bring the rat and they put it right down. The mouse, sometimes they'll eat that. But I'm not concerned with that. Anything else? Well, appreciate you coming. If you need any more, you can go to guardianangels.org. You'll hit the little tab there, Guardian Angel Animal Protection Division, and they'll give you all the information you know. We should have everything up and running with feral cats here, with a house, with people who will cater it and maintain it by this weekend. Now that we have the mayor's permission to be on his property, that's half the battle. Okay? Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Feel free to follow up.
Thank you.